Welcome back to another project. In this project, we are going to create a to-do list. As you can see from the final version of the project, we have an input here that we can write our tasks. For example, we write buy milk. As soon as we enter, the task is added at the end of the items. And also we didn't see any refresh in the page. But if you refresh the page now, we see that the items still are in the browser because we are saving the items inside the local storage of the browser. So we're going to learn how to set and get items from the local storage using JavaScript. Also, we see a check and a trash icon. When we click on the check icon, we can set the item to be done or checked. And also we can delete the icon using this trash icon. Now, if you refresh the page, you can see still the item is there, and the item that is deleted is also deleted from the local storage of the browser. In the next section, we're going to start with the HTML part of the project. So see you in the next section. All right, let's start our project. First, we open the Visual Studio Code. We close the Get Started tab, and in the File menu, we click on Open Folder. I would like to create a project in my desktop, but you can create it anywhere you like in your computer. So here we click on Desktop, and we click on New Folder, and we name the file To-Do List. We press Enter, and we click on the New Folder button. Here we close the Get Started tab again, and on the left side in the Explorer section, we create an HTML file. So we right-click and we click on New File. We name the file index.html. And we press Enter. Now we can see the HTML file on the right side, which is completely empty, but we can use an exclamation mark to create an HTML5 boilerplate. So we write an exclamation mark and we click on the first auto suggestion. Now we have our HTML5 boilerplate, which the first line, which is the doc type, and tells the browser what type of or what version of HTML the page is written in. In our case, because we are using HTML5, so we just need to write HTML here. Then we have HTML tag, which covers everything, including the head and body section. And in the lang attribute here defines the language of the page. In our case, we set the language to be English. Then we have the head section that has 3 metadatas and the title. The charset attribute defines the HTML character encoding, and for HTML5 we use UTF-8 because it contains all the characters and symbols mostly. And also we have another meta tag, which is for Internet Explorer browser and tells them to use the most recent rendering engine, which is Edge. Then we have the viewport meta tag, which tells the browser on how to resize the page. The first part here sets the page's width to the device's screen. For example, a mobile screen will be smaller than a computer screen. And the second part, we cannot see it now. We use Alt-Z to turn on the word wrap. So here, the initial scale equals to 1 means the initial zoom level of the page would be 100%. Then we have the title tag, which is the title of our page. Let's see the browser. In order to see the browser inside the Visual Studio Code, we need to right-click and we click on we click on Live Preview, Show Preview, which is the extension that we have installed previously. So we click here. Now we can see the browser on the right side, which is completely empty, but it has the title document. Let's change the title to be, for example, the to-do list, which is the name of our project. Then in the body section, which is the main, the things that the people can see inside our browser. First, we add a form for our to-do list, and we add a class of form. We don't need action for this form, so we delete it. And inside the form, we have an input with a class of input. The type would be text. You can see the input here. And also we want this has a placeholder, which is the text inside the input. And we just say enter your task. All right. The other things we want to add is the turn off the autocomplete. So we just say autocomplete off. The autocomplete attributes turn off the suggestion for our input section. After this input, we have a unordered list tag, and we give this the class of list. And inside this, we have our list. So we just say the first list would be, for example, buy milk. And the things I want to add is to add two icons. First, for the checking the list and marking it as red. And also we want to add an icon similar to trash to delete each one. In order to have icons in our browser, we can use Font Awesome website. So we go to the browser, and in the Google Chrome, we search for Font Awesome. In the first result, the fontawesome.com, we click on icons here. You can see a lot of icons. We search for check. We can just use this check square. We click on it, and here we can copy the HTML tag, which is a I tag with a class of FAS, FA check square. So we click, so it's copied, yeah, and we can now go back to the Visual Studio Code and just paste it after buy milk. Let's decrease the size of this. We can see it better, and also we can close this section. All right. We cannot see the icon yet because we must add a link to the Font Awesome CDN within the HTML code. So we go back to the browser, we open a new tab, and here we search for CDN.js. The first result is cdnjs.com. So we click on this link, and here in the search bar, we search for Font Awesome, and we click on the first suggestion. We scroll down a little bit, and here we can copy the link tag. We copy it, we go back to the Visual Studio Code, and just under the title tag and at the end of the head tag, we paste the link using Ctrl-V. Now we can see the icon in our browser. Let's add the trash icon as well. So we go back to the browser, and we go back to the Font Awesome tab, which is here. We go up a little bit, and we search in the search bar trash. The first result, we just click on it. Be sure to don't choose the other one, because the others are, you have to pay the pro version, pro license. But these ones that has black, these are black and not faded, are free. So we click on the first one, which is free. And here we copy the link tag, which is the I tag with a class of FAS and FA trash. So we copy this, we go back to the Visual Studio Code, and just after this I tag, we paste the other one. You can see that they are next to each other. So we just copy this li tag, and we just change this buy milk to, for example, call David. So we have two lists now, two items in the list. And I would like to add a class here, the first li tag, the class of checked, because we want to style this later if we're using CSS, and we want to say if this li tag has a class of check, just change its color and create a line in the middle of it. So in the next section, we are going to start styling our project using CSS, and we are going to style all these forms. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have finished with the HTML part of our project. In this section, we're going to start styling our project using CSS. First, we need to create a CSS file. So we open the Explorer using Ctrl-Shift-E. And here on the left, in the Explorer section, we right-click and we click on the new file. We name the file style.css and we press enter. Before using CSS in our project, we need to add a link to the CSS file within the HTML code. So we switch to the index.html, and just after the font awesome link tag and just at the end of the head tag, we add a link tag. So we just write link and we click on the third auto suggestion, the one with the CSS. Now we can use CSS in our project. So we close this Explorer section by dragging this line. Now we go to the style.css and we start styling our project. First, we start styling the body section. So we just write body. We open a set of curly braces. First, we remove the default margin. So we just write here, margin 0. We change the display to flex to be able to bring the items to the center horizontally. Let's increase the size of the browser. Now we can use justify content center to bring the items to the center horizontally. And let's change the background color to be, for example, green or this color. And we go to style the form. So now you finish the body here. We go to the form. The form had a class of form as well. So we just tap to the class of form here using the form.forms CSS selector. And we bring it here 30% down using position first absolute. And we just say top 30%. The reason we didn't use the height 100% of the viewport height and using align item centers, because if we add more items to our list, we need to go and scroll down, so we cannot set the height of the screen to 100% always. So we use the position absolute, and the position absolute is relative to the body, and it came down 30%. Let's add some box shadow to add some shadow effect to the form. So we just say box shadow. The first value in the box shadow is the position of the horizontal shadow. We set it to be 0. For the position of the vertical shadow, we just set it to be 4 pixels, and you can see it here. And for the below radius, we just set 8 pixels. Now we can see clearly the shadow, but we don't want it to be this much dark. We can add some transparency to the black color by using RGBA function. So we write RGBA, we open a set of parentheses, we set 0, 0, and 0 for red, green, and blue, and for the alpha value, we just write 0.3, which means 30% transparency or opacity. We use Alt-T to turn on the word wrap to see all the code. Yeah, and here we change the width of the form to be 400 pixels, so we have more place. We change the background color to be light gray, or maybe just say, no, that's just say maybe pink color. Or let's see the suggestion here. Yeah, light pink would be better. Let's round the border of the form using border radius 10 pixels, or just 10 pixels is fine. Yeah, that's it for the form section. Let's go to the next one, which is input. We set the class of input. So we just tap here dot input. First, we change the width of the input to be 100%. But as you can see, we have more than 100% here. The reason is it's calculating the border as well. So we can set the border, actually box border or border box, I think. Yeah, sorry. We just set the box sizing to be border box. Yeah, that's correct. As soon as you set the box sizing to border box, we see that the input has the same size of its parents, and all the borders was calculated are gone. So let's change the padding to be 20 pixels, and let's round the top section of the input that is covering the border of the form. So we just say border radius 10 pixels for the top left, for the 10 pixel for the right, top right, and also 0 and 0 for left down and the right down, or right button and left button. All right, let's remove the border as well, so we don't have this dark border. So we just say border none. That looks okay, and just change the color. Sorry, the font size. We change the font size to be 20 pixels. So when we type, it's 20 pixels, and change the font family to be cursive. So we have a better looking text. But the enter your task, the color is too bright. Let's change that one by tapping to the pseudo element placeholder. So we just say dot input, and we choose this pseudo element placeholder, and we just say color, and light gray would be enough. All right. Yeah, that's it for the input section. Let's style the next section, which is UL. The UL has a class of list. So here we just say list. We remove the padding, and we remove the margin. Now it's all connected inside. We just need to remove these dots. These dots are related to the input UL li. Actually, the list items has the bullet for the styling. So inside the list, we have li, and for the list style type, we choose none to remove the dots. We add some padding here, 20 pixels. We change the font family as the same as its parents, and the color, just say cursive, and the font size is fine, I feel. We just add some borders between the items. We just say border top. We set it to be dotted so we can see. Let's change the color to be a little bit less. Just say dark gray would be fine. We just changed the color of the both fonts and the border. We just changed the color to border color. All right, we just changed the color of the border. That looks fine. Let's style these buttons, the check and the green. We bring them to the right side, change the color of the trash to red, and change the color of the checkbox to green. So the class we have to target is this class, FA trash, and also FA check square. So inside the list.list, inside the li, we have a class of FA, for example, trash. We start from the trash. We set the color to be red. As you can see, the color has been changed to red. We set the position to be absolute, so we can bring it to the right section. Actually, you have to set this one to because we want this to be relative to the parent, so we set the position of this to relative. So we just say right, for example, 10 pixels. We bring it here, and from the top we want it to be in the middle, so 50%, but the 50% top bring the edge of the trash to the middle. So we need to use the transform, translate y, and we use minus 50% to bring it exactly to the middle. We change the cursor to be pointer, So when we hover over it, we can see a pointing hand. And for the check one, it's the same thing, but we just need the color to be green and we write to be 20 pixels. So for we just use the FA check square. We just copy this and we copy this one using Alt Shift arrow down, and we change this FA trash to, and we paste that previous FA check square. The only difference is the color, which is green. We set it to be green, and we don't want it to be 10 pixels, which goes on the top of the trash. Just say 20 pixels. 20 is not enough, so just say 40 pixels. Yeah, and change this right 10 pixels to 20 pixels. That looks fine for now. Let's change the background color from the pink to yellow. So I think it looks better. So we change the color of the form from the light pink to yellow. So yellow makes more sense for the notes and the listing, and the color red and green pop up better on the yellow color. So, yeah, but you can choose any color you like in your own project. The things we want to do is for the list that has the class of check, I want this text to be lighter and has some line through it, and also this check button to be gray. So we target this using, we just target the list first, and we go to li, but the li that has the class of checked. And then we want to, first this text we want to target. So we just say here, color to be light gray, or yeah, that's okay, light gray. And we change the line text decoration to be line through. So we have some line in the middle. Light gray, it's too light. Just change it to dark gray. Yeah, that looks better. Let's change the color of the check one as well. So we just target list li with a checked class, and we target this FA check square class, which is related to this one. And then we say the color to be dark gray. Yeah. Now, if we add this class to any list, we get this effect. For example, if I cut this and we bring it to the next list, paste it here, we get this effect in the next one. But we're going to do this one using JavaScript dynamically when we click on this button. When we click on this button, we get this effect. And when we click it again, we remove this effect. And when we click on the trash button, we want to remove this node completely. So in the next section, we're going to add functionality to our project using JavaScript. And that was for the CSS part. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have finished styling our project using CSS. In this section, we are going to start adding functionality to our project using JavaScript. First, we need to create a JavaScript file. So we open here the Explorer section using Ctrl-Shift-E, and here on the left side in the Explorer section, we right-click and we click on New File. We name the file index.js. We bring this file here after the installer CSS. And before using the index.js in our project, we need to add a link to this file within the HTML code. So we go back to the index.html file, and just at the end of the body section, we add a script tag, and we just write sc, and we click on the second auto suggestion, the one with the src. Now we have a script tag, and src defines the destination of the link. And as both files, I mean the index.html and index.js, are located at the same directory, we just need to write here index.js for the URL. All right, that was it for linking to the index.js. Now we can use JavaScript in our project. We save this file and we go to index.js. The first thing we need to bring to the JavaScript and return, the first element is the form element. As you remember, the form element has the class of form, so we can return it using the query selector method So we just write here const form element. We name the constant and we just say document dot query selector. And inside a set of parentheses, we choose the CSS selector, which is dot form. Because if you go back to the index.html, the form has a class of form. So for returning the class, we need to add dot at the beginning of the class name. We can use Alt-C to turn on the word wrap to see all the code here. Now we can close the Explorer section as well. We don't need it. And we decrease the size of the browser. All right. So we need to add some add event listener method to the form. So when we write down something here, we can catch it in the form using the submit event inside the add event listener method. So we just write here form element dot add event listener. Add event listener has two parameters. The first parameter is the event that we want to use, and the second one is the function which will be trigger when the event happens. The event we want to use is submit. So when someone submits in the form, we trigger a function. So, and we want to get the trigger another function, which is the to-do list function, and we add the whatever inside here to a new list. First, the things we would like to do, if you open the browser here using open in browser, when we submit anything, we write something and we press enter, as you pay attention to this icon here, we see that the page is refreshing, and we want to prevent this refreshing, and we don't want the page to be refreshed. We just want the new item to be added as a last or the first element of this section. So we go back to the Visual Studio Code, and here we get the event, and we want to prevent it as a default. So we just add the method prevent element after that. Sorry, prevent default after that. We just say event that prevent default, and we open a set of parentheses. So this one actually prevents the page to be refreshed. So if we go back to the browser now, if we write down something and we press enter, you see there is no change here and the page is not refreshed yet. So we go back to the Visual Studio Code. After that, we call a function, and we call the function to-do list. We open a set of parentheses. Let's make it camel case, just like this, and we create the function here. We just say function to-do list, and inside this function, we want to get some information from the form. And inside the input, we want to get this value, whatever we write down here. So in order to do that, first we need to return the input into our JavaScript. The input has a class of input, so it's the same as we did here. We use the query selector method to return the element. So we just write constant input element, and we just write document.query selector, and inside a set of parentheses and a double quote, we write dot input. And if we console log input element dot value, and we open the console, here in the hamburger button, we click on Open DevTools pane, and inside the console, if you write down something here, we cannot see it. But if we put this log inside the form, for example here, and we just write down something and press enter, it means we submit the form. We see here whatever we write down inside the input. We just say, for example, hello, press enter, and we see hello here. So we are getting the information inside the input by just input element.value. So we delete this console log, and here inside the function that is triggered here, we just say we create a function. We just write we create a variable. We just say let, and we just write down new, for example, task. The new task variable gets whatever inside the input element dot value. All right. And so we get the value here, new task, and we just need to add it to a new li element. So we create a li element. We hard coded here the li elements, but we can create them here inside the JavaScript using create element method. So we create a constant and we call it li element, and we just say document.create element method. The element we want to create is li, and the li should have this new task inside it. So the li element dot inner text would be new text, new task. So in order to see this li, we need to append it as a child inside this UI actually. So we have to get this UI inside the JavaScript. This UI has the class of list. So we return it here, similar to the one we did in the above using query selector method. So we just say ul element document dot query selector, and inside a set of parentheses we just write dot list, because list is the name of the class. Now we append this one inside this UI. So we just say ul element dot append child, and we add this li element. So if now we write down something, for example, something like that, and we press enter, we see a new li with the text the same as this one, which is input.value. So we first put the input.value inside this variable, and we set the inner text of the li element to this, and we put it inside. All right. The next things we want to do is to let's clear actually the input. So after we enter, we want to clear this. So we set the input.value to be empty when we enter. So for example, we write down something, hello, and we press enter, we see it here, but inside the input, we don't see anything because we reset it to be empty. Let's create these buttons and the trash and the check buttons inside the li as well. So we use the same method, create element. Let's put each of them inside a different div. So later we can use add event listener for clicking as well. So we create a constant, and first element we want to see is say check, for example, button, check btn element. We create it using document.create element. And this is just a div. And inside this div, we want to have this icon. So we just say this check btn element dot inner HTML. And the inner HTML, we just open a backtick, a set of backtick, and we just copy whatever here. For example, this one. No, sorry, just this section, the check section. We copy this link tag. We copy this I tag, and we go to the index.js and we paste it here. So in order to see it inside this link tag, we need to append it as a child. So we just say the link element we have created here dot append child, and the things we wanna append is this check btn element. Now we add something. We just say hello. We can see hello and also the check button. So let's add the trash as the same as we did here. So we just say constant trash btn element. We create it using document.create element method, and inside this we just write down div because we want it to be a div. And inside this div, the trash btn button, we want to add an HTML tag, which is here. We just copy this second section and we paste it here. I think, yeah, we just need to delete this. Yeah, that's enough. Now we add it again. We just say hello. No. Oh, we didn't append it as a child. So we just need to say li element.append child trash btn element. We try again. Just say hello. Press enter. We see hello and also these icons. So let's remove these two hard-coded ones here. So we just can see the real code. So we delete them, or we just comment them. So we don't see anything, but when we add something like hello, we can see here. All right, let's go back to the index.js. Now we want to add some event listener to each of these icons. We want the event listener for the check one. When we click on this icon, we want to add the class checked, and we add a class here and also change the color. We already installed them using CSS. We just need to add the class checked. So we add an event listener to the check button element. The event we want to add to this is click, and we want to trigger a function when someone click on this icon, and we just want to add the class list. So we just say the li elements dot the class list dot, we just say toggle. We want someone click, we add the checked one, and also to click again, we remove the check one. So we use the toggle method. So we write down again hello. We see it here. When we click on this, we added the checked class to it. So we change the class and change the style. We click again, it returns to its normal styling because we remove the class. We can try this in the browser as well. We can see the classes adding and removing. So we go to the browser, we add something here, and we open the dev tools using Ctrl+Shift+C. As you can see here in the forms section, in the URL, now we have a li that we added. The text is hello, and we have two divs. The first div is this one. So we open it, and this div has the I class. When we press on it, we add the class check to the li. And if we press again, we remove the class. Yeah. All right, we go back to the Visual Studio Code. Let's add some event listener to the trash. So when we click on it, we remove this task completely. So we just say trash btn element dot add event listener, and the event is the similar. We just say click, we add the function, and this one just remove the li element. We just say li element dot remove. All right, let's try it. We add this hello, we add something else, and if we click, still this one working. But if you click on the trash, we can remove this hello by just clicking on it. And we can remove this one as well. Yeah. As you can see, the problem we have here, when we have a task here, when we refresh the page, the task is go away because we didn't store this information anywhere. So we don't have any database. The things I would like to do in this project is to use the local storage of the browser to store the information. The local storage is located inside the, if you open the DevTools pane, and if you go to the application, we can see that we have a local storage, and this is our website's URL, this one. All right, it's empty now, but we want to store the information inside it. So in order to store, so we just make a function, and the function would be update local storage. So we create a function here, and the function actually check all the li elements. We just first we create a constant. We just say all the li elements. We just add an s here because it's plural, and we just say document dot query selector all, check all the li elements, and store them in a variable. We set the variable name, for example, we just say lists, and first we make it empty, but we want to loop through these li elements by using for each element, and for each element actually add a function to each element. So we trigger each function once for each element. So we get each element, we just say li element, we make it singular, and we get this, and we want to update this list variable. First is empty, but we just say we push something inside it, which is an object. The first one is the name of the element, which is li element dot inner text. Whatever text inside the li element, we want to put it as a name. And also another things is the checked one. We say if it's checked or not. We just say the li element dot classless dot contains. If it contains the class of checked, we want this to be true or false. So if it has the checked, this checked would be true, and if it doesn't have, it will be false. And after creating this variable, we want to store this inside the local storage. So outside this, we just say local storage dot set items. First, in the set item, we set the name of the variable we want to store, which is list, and the second one is the variable. But the variable, we can only store the variable which is a string. So we have to convert this variable, which is an array, to a string using JSON.stringify method, and inside the parentheses we just say list. All right, and we want to call this function inside our to-do list function. So outside this, we just say update local storage. So here, when we write down something, for example, hello, we see that inside the storage section, we have a key list, which is the name of the storage file we sit here. It has two parameters. The first one is name, which is hello, and the second one is the checked, which is false, because it's not checked. But if we change the check, we don't see the change here because we didn't call this function after we checked it, we add the eventlessness. So we have to call this after checking as well, and also after removing the file. We have to update the local storage. So we just add something, a few tasks, and we see them here. If we change the first one to be checked, we see the checked position became true. Now it's false, true. Let's remove it. You see the KSBS, we remove it, and we don't see it inside the storage. So we have successfully stored our information inside the local storage. But when we refresh the page, you might notice that we don't have any task anymore. Because the reason is we haven't used this storage to create the list. We store it, but we didn't call it. So just at the top, before the form, we should this variable we have here. We create this variable above, so we dilute this let here, but we create this let here. So we just say list, and we want to call this and get the information from the storage. So we just have to use the local storage method again. Instead of using the set item, which is creating the item inside the local storage, we should use the get item method. And the item we want to get is the name was list inside here. The key is list. But this one actually gives us a string, and we cannot use the string to create our list. So we have to convert this one from the string to the array again. So we have to use the method JSON.parse method to revert the stringify. So we have to cut this and put it inside this. Now if we console log the list and we go to the console section, we are getting that array that is existed inside the local storage here, but it's an array, it's not a string. So if we don't do it, for example here, if we remove this JSON.parse, you see we are getting a string instead of an array. So we return it to the JSON.parse, so we get an array. Now, because this list includes all the array, we need to loop through it using for each method, and we get each of the tasks. So we just say task, and for each task, we want to put them inside our function, the to-do list. So we have to call the to-do list function for each task and put them inside. So we give them the task, but we cannot get it here. So we have to add the task here as well. As you can see now, we are getting the two lists, but we are not getting the inside of them, because we haven't added the ability to get the task name yet, because we have task.name and task.checked. So after this, we just say if the task is existed, and we set the new task to task.name, and then we put it inside this. Let's go to the application again. So as you can see, the name is identified. So let's delete them, and we create a new one. So you can see it here, hello. And if you refresh the page, you can see the hello it stays there because we are getting them from the local storage. Let's add more things. So when we refresh, we don't get them. If we delete them and we refresh, we still have the same information. But if we check them and we refresh, this will be unchecked because we haven't get the information from the check section here. So we add another condition. We just say if the task existed and also task.checked is true. So we need to add an and here. If both of them is true, let's add the, we have to do it after this because we need to call this li. So after this, we just say li element, which is this one, dot class list dot add, and we add the class check to it. All right. So now if we check and we refresh, we still get the information of the checked as well. And we can delete it, refresh, and we still have, let's add a new one. Just say buy something. Yeah, if as you can see, now it's working, and we can just check, and we can see the check through here and check through here as well. And we can delete the function, delete the task, and also we add a new one. All right. That was it for our project. I hope you enjoyed and learned many things. That was a little bit big project, but to-do list, learning a to-do list is very necessary for all students, and it has too many things to learn from this project. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next project.